let me start off with this. I gotta give a shout out to my brother, Prophet, Richard Pilo Prophet. He's my guy. He's been telling me a long time to make videos, and put your face out there. But I'm like, nah, I like being in the back. But when I realized how much information that I have and I possess that I can give to people and allow them to become successful, I'm like, you know what, Prophet? Let me start something. Let me start somewhere, see how it goes. This playlist is gonna be mostly about podcasts. And I'm gonna give you all the information that you can possibly need to make a successful podcast. We've learned over the last 4 years on what works, what doesn't work, how can you grow this faster, and all the things not to do. This playlist is gonna be mainly about podcasting, so I'm gonna be able to give you everything that you need to know starting your podcast in 2023. First, getting a name. A name is important. You want it to be memorable, but when you're first trying to design your architect on putting everything together, you don't want to spend too much time on a name, right? Because you can come back to it. But I would say that should be the first thing you kind of think about. Get a name, something catchy, something like short, sweet, easy to spell. Don't spend too much time on the name. The name is important, I will say that, but go to step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Start with a name that you're comfortable with. And by the time you go through all the steps that I'm gonna mention, you'll come back to that name. And if that's the name it's supposed to be, it'll be that name. But don't like spend too much time on it. What your podcast is gonna be about. Like, is it gonna be about entertainment? Is it gonna be about education? Is it gonna be about sports? Think about what do you want your podcast to be about? Think about what you want the audience to receive when they're watching you. When they listen to your content and consuming your content, you actually own a piece of real estate in their mind now because you gave them content, you gave them information, and now they hold that in their mind. So you actually have real estate in their mind, if that makes sense to you. So you want to think about what is it going to be about. I would say you want it to be about something that really excites you, something that gets you. This whole YouTube and podcast experience is about things that I do now and I enjoy doing. So this is like second nature to me, right? If you have to research all the time and you don't like researching, I wouldn't make it that. I wouldn't do that. But if it's something that you really enjoy researching and learning about, then that's what it should be about. Don't try to be something you're not. It's not gonna be genuinely connected with the audience. You wanna know if it's gonna be a host or not. So if you're gonna do it by yourself, you're gonna do it with your, another co-host or 2 co-hosts, kind of think about how you wanna structure it. What I will say is there's not too many man-woman podcasts that are successful. It's either 2 men or 2 women. There's sites out there that actually allow you to get all the names or check and see if all the names are available on all the social media outlets like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all those different social media sites. So go to namecheckr.com and you can actually put the name that you like, the name of your company, the name of your podcast, the name of your show into that website, and it'll actually tell you if it's available all through the web. So that's a really good source to find out if the name's available. So you can spell it differently sometimes and whatnot, but I would definitely register all your social medias. I would register the LLC and I would register a trademark all at once at this point, because you have some type of basis of where you're going with this podcast. A podcast makes money with information. People want to advertise on your show because you have audience's attention. What's that mean? That means data is the most important thing when building your podcast. The more data you have, the more leverage you have with advertising companies, the more leverage you have with people that want to give you money. If you say I can get your brand to 10,000 people with a click of a button, advertisers are going to be more likely to advertise with you versus someone that doesn't have access to people's data. If you hold your information only on Instagram, you do not have as much control over your data. And I believe Instagram lets you market to 1% of the audience. That's not gonna be very helpful when advertisers wanna spend money with you. And another thing is, you don't wanna just be putting anybody posting on your Instagram. You want it to be relative to the content you've been posting and what got you to where you are. So what you want is you want a CRM. That's basically a customer relationship management system. And what you're gonna do with that is you're gonna have your website designed out and it's gonna be able to collect all the data and all the leads that come to you on all your social media platforms, because you're gonna promote your website. Like mine is digitalmogul.com. You go to digitalmogul.com, you can actually sign up for my CRM that I use, and that could help you get your podcast successful. And the way my CRM is hooked up is basically it's geared toward podcasting. So if you want, go to digitalmogul.com and you can sign up to our CRM, and that could actually help you as well. But it's other CRMs out there. You're not subject to just mine, but it's a bunch of other CRMs, but you definitely want a CRM because you want to collect the data. The more data you have, the more value you're worth to the sponsor or to the company or to the advertiser. Podcasting is technically just audio. As it's growing and as people are becoming more aware with podcasting, they're realizing video could be a big asset to your podcast. And I don't care what it is, if it's an iPhone, we started with iPhone, or if it's the camera you had for 10 years ago. And if you only have one camera, whatever you gotta use, record your podcast with video, because that's a whole nother revenue stream. With YouTube, it's a whole nother revenue stream. When someone wants to add, they don't just pay, they gotta pay for audio and they gotta pay another fee for video, because it's a whole different market. I'm a video person. I don't like to listen, I like to see. People like to listen versus see, so they go to a podcast. That's a whole different audience. Your fee is gonna be different for each platform. So make sure you record your video because it's very important to your success of your podcast. And again, you wanna make revenue. Revenue's gonna keep that light on and keep you going every day to create content. Picking a data release. So you wanna pick a data release and you want it to be the day that people interact with your content the most. Now, how would you know that? If you have a social media already, you can actually look at the analytics on your social media and see which days your content gets the most attention. And honestly, that's the day you should post your podcast, because people consume everyone's content at different times. Like, some people like to watch motivational content on Monday morning because it starts their week off. Some people like to watch relaxing content on Friday because it's the end of the week. So depending on what kind of content you're gonna be posting, is gonna be dependent on the day you should release. So just look at the analytics, ask people, ask your audience if you have an audience, but now say if you don't have an audience, you just started out, you have zero data, then I would say post it on Monday, see how it goes. If it's going good, good. Post it on Wednesday, and I'm just picking any day, but just take a chance. We took a chance at Tuesday at 5, but we realized we had a big market on the West Coast as well. So we changed it to 8 o'clock. And now our podcast gets more views on Tuesday at 8 versus Tuesday at 5. So just play with it and listen to your audience. And as you grow, you'll see if it's gonna work on the day you originally posted or you have to change something. And also do clips. Make clips of some of your content and post it on your audio and your YouTube, so you can kind of see, engage every single day, which days get the most views to your content, and that's the day you should actually post. Figuring out your market is gonna be very important as well. You don't wanna have a market to people that don't like sports, and you're talking about sports. You're gonna fail from when you started. So you wanna figure out what your market looks like. Even if you wanna pay for advertising, or you wanna do events, or anything that is going to be trying to get people to come listen to your data, you wanna figure out what market is that. How you figure out what market is that? Easy. You look at the content that's out there that is the most similar to yours, right? Now, if it's like in a white space like we were the first people talking about financial literacy with hoodies on, you know? So we created a whole nother space, and great, you can actually do that as well. But we still play with a bunch of different things and learned what our market looks like. And what we realized is our market was us, the people that look like us, the people that talk like us, the people that do the things that we do, listen to hip hop, wear nice clothes. All those things were our people. And our specialty was we talk like them, but the things we were talking about, it wasn't about rap, it wasn't about sports, it wasn't about the things that were typical in our culture. It was talking about things that are on CSNBC. It was things that was in the real estate. It was things about entrepreneurship and giving people the ability to make money other than going to a 9-to-5. And the way we delivered that information was so insightful that people kind of started to listen to us because they're like, wait, they look like us and they're making money doing in a stock market and they're not wearing a suit. It kind of struck the algorithm. It hit the algorithm and it became the biggest financial literacy podcast. So just make sure you want to kind of think about your market and who your market is going to be about. Branding. Branding is going to be very important to get the audience's attention. Now look at this. Think about this. This is what I personally do. Anything I purchase, any email I click, any text I read, Any market material that comes to me and it gets my attention, I immediately put it in my notes. What made me click on this email? What made me purchase this product? You want to think about how you felt when you did something, because you can reverse engineer that to other people and rebuild your own marketing. And that's how I do it. So I market to the people that think like I do. So I think about every single email I click, every single text I read, the things that get my attention, I write down immediately. And I say how I felt in that moment, what grabbed my attention. And that's how I redo it. I re-engineer that and use it to my ability to get people to put their eyes on my content. So branding's very important. I will say your logo should be thick. It should be bold. I would say your logo should be simple. It shouldn't be complicated. You shouldn't have to struggle to understand what it does. Earn your leisure. I didn't come up with the name, but just think how easy that is. It's earn your leisure. You're getting leisure. You've earned your leisure. So it's something good. It feels good. So when you think about your brand, you want them to feel good. Earn your leisure. It just feels good. I'm just in my leisure. So think about that. Think about that when you're doing your branding, and make it consistent across all the platforms. So, and make sure if I go to your social media, I know immediately that this is what you do. Very important.